Best of r/malicious compliance episode 18. I work nights in a pizza place, and when I walked in one night last week, there were several towers of pizza boxes on the tables and the counter side of our restaurant. The area where we usually keep them above the pie prep area was full too of stacked boxes. Apparently the day driver was asked to make boxes during his shift and for whatever reason was very pissed off about it. I hope this week they ask him to stock the Snapple fridge. Thank you. Next. In my senior year of high school I met a girl who I really liked, and I found out she felt the same way about me. After graduation we get together, and I know during relationships, many types of conversations happen. Even ones you don't like to talk about. She randomly brings up the fact of breaking up. She said if we were to that she wouldn't want to be friends or anything like that. You guessed it. The inevitable happens, and it was nasty. So nasty that she in a way disappeared. She would only talk to me when she really wanted to, and if I responded I wouldn't be surprised if she never responded back, and it happened a lot. Not long after we broke up I started my new job. There was a girl in another department who through talking we found out that we're related. Away from this for a second. The fact that I'm related to her isn't necessarily important, but she does play a part in this. April 2019. I hadn't heard from my ex in months. No surprise there. And this particular day I was closing at work. My cousin was working the same shift. Anyways, it's around 10, so the store isn't that busy. All of us had our own tasks and I was pretty much done. Anyways, my cousin asks me to help her with something and we go to the back to find it. Anyways, me and her start talking. I don't remember about what, and my phone goes off. I look at the time and realize that it couldn't be my parents. But decide to check just in case. Lo and behold, it's my ex. I didn't recognize her number at first. I had deleted it because I hadn't heard from her in so long. I won't say exactly what she said, but I can easily compare it to the typical "I miss you" bullshit. My cousin saw the texts as well. I trust her. The next couple days I was emotionally drained. I did my work but just looked really tired. I was back to normal before anyone noticed. You might think that was the end of it. July 2019. I had heard from her again and had that emotionally drained feeling. So I decided to ask her what she wanted from me. She said that she wanted us to be on good terms. Yeah, I know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. She asked me what I wanted. And then I remembered. She told me if we broke up she wouldn't want us to be friends or anything. My opportunity had arrived. I told her that I wanted to continue on with my life without caring what terms and her were on. Never in my life had I stopped hearing from someone so fast. Some of you may say my ex won this one, but all I have to say is this. Ask and you shall receive. If any of you are still reading this, I just want to say thank you. I needed to get this off my chest and I felt like giving her what she wanted counted as malicious compliance. Again, thank you for taking the time to read this and have a good day. Thank you. Next. I figured I'd give everyone an update since my first post generated a lot of interest. So the insurance came back with a denial. I think it was just automated. So I refaxed all the pages in my prior auth request a few times. They finally came back with another form they wanted to complete. And big surprise, I had already completed that particular form. So I just refaxed it. This morning I got a fax saying they approved the treatment for our patient. This is really exciting for us since we're one of 2 clinics in the area providing this new treatment. It's exciting to be able to provide patients access to non-traditional treatment options, especially since antidepressants are really hit or miss. Thank you everyone for your support. Your kind comments and words of encouragement really helps me out through frustrating authorization processes. If you're struggling with depression or mental illness, don't lose hope for yourself and keep fighting to advocate for yourself. That's probably the most important thing you can do. And don't be afraid to look for help if you need it. I promise there are people out there who care, despite what you may believe. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you. Next. Do you know the guy at work that everyone hates? The rude, obnoxious, lazy one that no one quite understands how he still has a job? Well, mine's name was Bob. For months Bob partnered himself up with me with a lovely 90/10 split of the work. Anytime I called out on it he got more and more obnoxious, and if it was actually possible did less and less work. On top of all of his other charming traits, Bob is an absolute phone addict. This is bad enough in a regular setting. Where we work it's actually very, very dangerous not to be paying attention to what's going on around you. I've mentioned this to Bob repeatedly to no avail, even after he was nearly hit by a forklift and almost had his head smacked by a robot. Our manager at the time said if you're stupid enough to die because you wouldn't put your phone down, no one's going to miss you, and ignored the behavior. My last straw at even attempting to get this guy to work and be safe was him snapping off "leave me alone" about my fucking phone. Well, we just got a new manager, partially because of our former manager's attitude towards safety issues, partly because of poor performance. The new manager had a quick, to the point meeting at the beginning of our shift and stated very clearly, "I see your phone, you're fired." No excuses, no exceptions. Bob missed this meeting because he was running late, again. About 2 hours later I see the new manager walking to our area. Bob as usual was head down staring at his phone. Remember when he specifically said to leave him alone about his fucking phone? Well, that's exactly what I did. Our new boss wound up standing behind him for a solid 3 minutes before Bob even noticed he was there. Bob was promptly escorted to HR, and I was apologized to by the new manager, because I'd have to run the work area solo until a replacement was found. No big loss. The extra 10% is well worth knowing that guy won't be around anymore. Guess no one at that job will bother him about his damn phone again. TLDR. Workplace phone addict snaps to leave him alone about his phone, so I did. Now he's fired and I'm grateful. Thank you. Next. Small malicious compliance here with FOT for proof. At my work we have a shelf that we use to put spare stuff from mostly empty boxes. The inspector came by and decided that the thing that we have been doing for 10 plus years is not the proper way since everything has to be in a box. We decide fuck that since it is way too slow compared to our old way. I took the time to tape the cardboard that turned the shelf into a box in the most stupid way I could. I am quite proud of my invention. Thank you. Next. Story time, ladies, gents, and non-binary pals. My supervisor is a notorious micromanaging hardus. We're coming up to the end of the year and she needs to be under budget. She ranted at us for an hour about how we charge out time. A quick and dirty rundown of how we charge out time. I work for a big company with smaller satellite offices. If we do work for a particular office, we charge to that office. We should only be charging to our department for our breaks, union, and department sanctioned events such as meetings. Apparently, we were charging way too much to the departmental budget. Mind you, she ran our 30 minutes meeting to an hour. She wants us to charge exactly what we use for our department to our department. Here's where the malicious compliance comes in. Previously I'd charge an hour a day to our department just for the little things, breaks, time entry, etc. That's 5 hours. Basically everyone in my department did the same. Now, this week alone, I'm over that 5 by 2. 25 hours. Times that by 12 people. We all have the same base schedules, and you have 27 additional hours to help you with that budgeting problem. So sad we couldn't be of more help. Thank you. Next. I'm more a passive-aggressive person than malicious compliance, but here's a story that fits the definition. Nobody explicitly told me to do / not do the thing, but it's built into our work policy, so I complied. TL. Doctor at the end. BC spoilers. I work in a nursing home as a CNA on night shift. Despite what people might think, we do not sit around watching TV / reading / twiddling our thumbs and eating candy all night. We help people get ready / go to bed. We answer call lights, which could be for anything from I'm thirsty / lonely / bored, although they don't say that. Just come up with little random things for you to do for them. Constantly, to they have to go to the bathroom, to hey I just projectile vomited everywhere and need to be cleaned up, and anything in between. And then we have rounds where we toilet / turn people who can't do it on their own. And between taking care of residents, because in theory they are sleeping most of the night, we have other duties that basically boil down to tidy up after evening shift, clean / wipe things down, and get things prepped so day shift has one less thing to worry about. All of that is to explain, I'm on my feet, and usually doing some significant lifting / pushing / pulling, for 8/10ths of my shift, from 10 PM to 6:30 AM, when a body wants to be sleeping. For every 4 hours, you get a 15-minute break. 8 hours equals 30 minutes, unpaid time, where you are off the floor and not answering lights / taking care of people. I was going to say this is state mandated for nursing, but then wasn't actually sure. It's always been in my work's policy handbook, but sometimes they go above and beyond what's strictly required. If you can't take a break, for example, being short-staffed and not having enough people to cover, we have no break slips we can fill out, giving the reason, and have our direct supervisor sign it. Because we don't clock out / back in for breaks, it's automatically built into the system. You work a certain number of hours, it's assumed you had your mandated break unless you indicate otherwise. I say we have them, but it might be more accurate to say used to, because fairly recently, we were told we were going to get a mark against us for every time we didn't take a break. So many marks equals probation, probably, which essentially lowers your raise increase that year. I'm not sure why this went into effect. If people were abusing it and going, oh, I don't need a break, I'll just work through and sign a slip. IDK. I should mention these slips also have a spot for forgot to clock in / out. They may have said not to use the slips more to deter people from forgetting and needing it manually entered in the payroll system. But it boils down to the same thing. An extra half hour, especially with night shift differential, and especially with weekend differential as well, is nothing to sneeze at. However, I want a half hour where I can sit down and play on my phone, so I only use them when I legitimately worked all shift, without a break. So, I didn't care about the marks, since there was literally no way for me to take a break if we're short-staffed all night. My facility has 6 halls in 2 different neighborhoods, and at night there's 1 aide for each hall, and 1 nurse to cover 3 halls / 1 neighborhood. If we're short, we're solved for a lot of things. There were a couple times where I'd ask about a slip, my nurse, only direct supervisor on site, would agree, and come morning when I have the slip filled out, I couldn't find her. I don't consider it malicious / hiding from me. End of shift is crazy, they could be anywhere, but I wasn't gonna hunt them down across 3 halls. I just want to go home and pass out. So, I just eat it. Fuck it, I'm too tired to care, basically. But then we hear about the demerits for using a no-break slip, and I'm just fed up with administration most of the time, anymore. I will get paid for the entire time I worked on the floor, and if that's from 10 PM to 6:30 AM plus, because I help out day shift and it's a legit miracle if I actually clock out at my end shift time, by God I'm gonna get paid for all 8/1/2 plus HRS. And most of the time, I'm not ready to clock out until 7 AM, which if you've been following along, is an entire 9 hours on my feet, half of it running my ass off. Most of the time I only get to eat because I blatantly disregard the no purses at the desk rule and bring my lunch in my purse, and can cram a few mouthfuls in throughout the night. So, I can't fill out a no break slip. I'm required to take a 30-minute unpaid break on the clock. I can't when we're short. Fine. You've probably guessed by now, but I started getting everything done at the end of shift, and then sat my happy ass down in the break room for half an hour, walked down the hall and clocked out to leave. Which means sometimes I'd be clocking out at 7:30, an hour after my shift was supposed to end. Nobody has said anything to me, although I haven't been secretive about it, because I'm bitter about the whole bullshit thing, but we've finally been getting fully staffed, thanks to new hires. And even last night, when we were short all night and a nurse known for being kinda lazy / not wanting to work the floor was my supervisor, she came over and asked if I wanted to go on break. So clearly, someone has said / heard something. TL. Doctor, half hour unpaid break is taken out of my time working, whether I get a break or not. So I've been taking a break the only time I can, after my shift is over.